What if I told you that I could show you how to catch some fish that have never seen a lure before? That would be pretty cool, would it not? That's exactly what we're going to do on this week's show from a very famous lake. Let's go crappie fishing, maybe using a technique you've never learned before. Our show is on the air right now.
You're watching the only program with weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
Hey everybody, I'm so glad you're with us for this week's episode. We're going to go out today and teach you some techniques to put crappie in your fish basket or your live well using some techniques that you may have never seen or heard of before. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got the Nitro Z20 loaded up and ready to go, the Lowrance HDS live units plugged up, and just in front of me is a very famous lake. I'd like to welcome you in to Lake Fork, Texas. Most people know this as a great big bass lake. Did you know that it's loaded with crappie? Most everybody fishes for crappie around boat docks and stumps and trees and brush. But did you know that a ton of crappie swim around out there in open water that nobody ever fishes for? Well, we're going to teach you how to locate and catch some of those open water crappie on this week's episode, and you can take these techniques back to your home lake and use them there. While we're out doing that, we're taking you around the region for your local fishing reports from our expert team of insider reporters from lakes, rivers, and bays right near you, both saltwater and freshwater. Right now, though, we get the boat down the boat ramp into famous Lake Fork, and we get things started back at the studio with your weekend planner.
These Salooner tables are predicting good game fish activity throughout both days this weekend. Peak game fish activity will be around dusk on Saturday and Sunday evening. Morning activity cranks up around dawn both days as well. Plan to be on the water either early or late for the best action. Expect the sun to rise at 7 o'clock and set at 7:56. And evenings will feature a moon that is 59% visible. Stay with us, we've got fishing reports from across the area on the way. Plus, 11-time Bass winner and 2016 Bass Master Classic champion Edwin Evers stops by to answer your Ask the Pro question. Back in a bit.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Mercury, Go Boldly, Lowrance, America's #1 fish finder, Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. Request our free 2019 fishing guide at orangebeach.com.
We're just out here in open water. There's just nothing here. There's no stumps, no timber, no brush, no grass. Going down through here, just dead sticking real slow, just kind of pulling out through this open water. There's one. There's a fish. Ooh, that's a decent crappie. Oh, and I have a second rod out right there and he's in it. But we'll just flop him in the boat just like that and try not to step on him. All right, welcome back everybody. We've made it out on Lake Fork, and there's the first one. We are on a big time cold front today, and it's just gotten downright feeling cold when you think it's supposed to be spring, and all of a sudden it cold front blows through, which can happen in the spring, by the way. But let me tell you this, we're talking about open water crappie fishing today. All these fish that are just swimming around, this fish is going to go in the live well, so I'm going to hang on to it for a minute because that's a really nice, solid, fat slab fish. So you can see behind me, we're just out here in open water. There's just nothing here. There's no stumps, no timber, no brush, no grass, nothing on the bottom. There's just open water, and occasionally there's some bottom contour, like a long point that runs out in the water, underwater hump, something like that. These fish live here year-round. The only time that they don't live in these open water areas is during the spring spawn, and they'll take turns. They'll migrate. In fact, you can't see it, but right here behind me is a big bay. Right around that point right there is a big bay. So they'll just migrate in around that bay. It's only 150 yards up there. Migrate around that point, go back in that bay, lay their eggs, spawn, turn around, and retrace their steps right back out to this open water. And they'll live on these underwater structures and humps really all year long. Now, they will get in brush piles. They will get in tree standing timber, but you can catch a bunch of crappie just floating around out here in open water. In fact, the pro tournament crappie fishermen that fish the big money crappie tournaments all fish open water. Really, more of them probably live out here. According to Chris Lindenberg, my buddy that owns and runs the Bobby Garland Lure Company, thinks that way more fish live in open water than live up around docks and stumps and structures. So this one goes in the live well. We'll get rigged back up.
Hey folks, Captain Greg Verm here with this week's Fox Southwest Outdoors Report. Hey, I talked with Captain Kyle Burgess down in Port Aransas. Captain Kyle said water temperatures on steady rise and lots of great things are happening, especially on the grass flats in Redfish Bay and Estes Flats targeting redfish. These fish can be caught several different ways, Captain Kyle said. If you want to throw artificials, you can't go wrong with either a gold or a silver spoon. Now let's move up to Freeport. I tell you, for the next several weeks, it's speckled trout, hot and heavy at the San Luis Pass. I prefer to wade fish the flats around Bird Island, Mudcut, Tidlum Tatlin Bayou, and Cold Pass. Also, we are seeing an excellent spring flounder run right now. The passes are the first to light off, and we're also seeing nice flounder in the bays and marshes. Oyster Creek, Christmas Bay, Bastrop, and Chocolate are filling up with flounder. Hey, remember, if you want to fish Galveston or Freeport, inshore, offshore, flounder gigging, or summertime shark hunts, also we have waterfront lodging at Bay's Landing. Give us a call or check out our websites. Hey, I'm Captain Greg Verm. I'll see y'all next time.
Hi everybody, this week's Lone Star Lakes is brought to you once again by the good folks at Fiberworks Marine Collision. If you have damage to your boat, let the good folks at Fiberworks take a look. They'll get you in and out at a reasonable price. Now this week we're going to start way up north at Lake Allen Henry in the Panhandle, which as we roll into this next full moon, we'll see lots of largemouths moving up into the creeks to do their spawning. You can catch these fish with a variety of baits, but you're probably best off using your Texas rig craws and other things that you can throw up in those shallows and drag along very slowly. Moving baits will work if you want to try a trap a little bit deeper, say 5 to 6 feet of water up in the creeks like Gobbler Creek. And at Lake Texoma, the smallmouth are going nuts. It's going to be the best time of year to catch these smallies on baits like a suspending jerkbait. Use your colors like blue chrome or black chrome or gold chrome, or go with something in a fire tiger if it's a little stained or a very cloudy day. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you once again by Fiberworks Marine Collision. Be sure and check us out on Facebook, Lone Star Lakes.
Look how fat that fish is. They're out here eating shad. That's the key, and that's how you find them. It's the old principle. There's one. Got a fish on. Hey everybody, welcome back. We're still on Lake Fork today, and we're fishing out some pretty deep water out here in open water, and I've actually got a few fish working. That's not a big one, but it's a fish on a cold front day, and the fish are very lethargic. So I want to talk to you about a couple of techniques that you can use to actually make these fish bite when they don't really want to. That fish will be more than 10 inches, so we're going to keep that one in a second. I've got a double jig rig worked up here, and I'll show you at the end of the show how we tie it. But I've got one Bobby Garland crappie bait up top. I've got another one about 18 inches down. I'll show you what those are and how everything works. But I'm basically spider rigging without the rod holders. Most people, when they spider rig, they get out of here with rod holders, put 6 or 8 rods out. So that's spider rigging. That's what I'm doing today, except I'm doing it with spinning rods. So what I'm doing is dropping these baits down to the bottom, using my remote control for my Motor Guide XI5 trolling motor, which is just absolutely vital for this kind of fishing. I'm holding that rod steady, and I'm gently lifting up on it just off the bottom, letting it move a little bit, swing with the movement of the boat. I'll drop it back down, touch the bottom with it again, gently swim it back up. And usually when they bite it when it's on its way up, on the swim up. That's spider rigging. Long lining is when you're actually moving quicker. You're actually putting rods behind the boat, a cast out behind the boat, and you're actually moving, watching the speed over ground on your fish finder, on your GPS, and you're moving like anywhere from 0.7 to 0.9 miles an hour, pretty quick, and you're trolling those jigs around and covering water. So the more active the fish are, the more you can catch them long lining. But when they're dormant, cold front day, high sky, bluebird sky, when the fish get really finicky, then the spider rigging, moving around real slowly with the trolling motor and just letting that jig horizontally hang right in front of those fish's face. They can't stand it, they reach out and they suck it in. That's what we're doing today.
Man, it's taken us a long time, but I think we finally have gotten springtime to Oklahoma. First of all, congratulations to Robin Carpenter. She set the new Lake Keystone striper record with this beautiful 31-pound to even, breaking the previous Keystone striper record by more than 10 pounds. Congratulations, Robin. Dr. Gary Cox, a veterinarian from Sallisaw, almost broke the Oklahoma State record largemouth. He caught this 14-pound, 13-ouncer from Broken Bow back on March 29th. Charles Jules catching him shallow on Lake Murray. That's how he caught this beautiful largemouth here. Caught it throwing a small swim bait around the shallows. Fishing's good in Oklahoma right now. You got a chance of catching a really big one, but you can't catch them if you don't go.
There's another one. Hey, we got another one, folks. We are hammering it out on Lake Fork today, trying to demonstrate some open water fishing techniques, and they don't fight a whole lot. They kind of get paralyzed when you reel them up that quick out of deep water, but that's another decent fish on my double jig rig right there. There's the 2 jigs. And let me explain to you how you find these fish. By the way, look how fat that fish is. They're out here eating shad. That's the key, and that's how you find them. It's the old principle: find the food, find the fish. It's that easy. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get out here with your boat, turn your fish finder on, your sonar, and if you got the really good stuff like the Lowrance HDS Live that I've got with the 3-in-1 active scan transducer, you can see everything that's down there, and you're looking for bait. You're looking for these balls of bait, and you're looking for bait hanging down pretty close to the bottom. Ideally, you want it close to the bottom. Those fish are easier to catch. They start suspending up off the bottom around that bait, they're a little more difficult to catch. You can catch them on these open water techniques like we're doing, but if you can get them right down on the bottom, they're much easier to catch. So you drive around, and I'm showing you some shots of my sonar here of what these clumps of shad look like. They're tiny little thread fin shad. These are little inch and a half thread fins is all it is, almost the size of a minnow. But you want to be on that bait, on your graph, seeing the bait and pulling that little bait, that little Bobby Garland bait, up through it like that. And those good fat ones like that will hit it. That's just an average fish for Lake Fork. That one goes in the live well. Find the bait, find the crappie.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Lou's. Feel the difference. Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland, the best in bass and crappie lures, heads to tails. Glacier Glove. Stay outdoors longer with our gloves, hats, and shades. Balls Out, made in the USA. Heavy-duty mounts for your fish finders.
We've been able to catch some really nice crappie here on Lake Fork today. There's another one. It feels like a good pull right there. Welcome back, everybody. We're still at Lake Fork, Texas today. Everybody's world famous big bass lake. A lot of folks don't realize how good the crappie fishing is on Lake Fork. Look at the size of that crappie. Holy cow. There's what you catch when you come crappie fishing on Lake Fork. You catch a fat toad like that. All right, well, you know, we're talking about open water crappie fishing today, and it's real easy for folks who have not done this and don't have a lot of confidence in it, doing it for the first time, to get intimidated doing this. They launch their boat, head out in that open water, and get just overwhelmed because it's like a needle in a haystack. Where out of all this open water are the crappie? When they're up in shallow water, it's easy. They're under the docks, they're on the stumps, they're in the brush, they're in the trees, they're on grass beds. When they're out here, where do you find them? Let me give you a few places to start if you just want to start looking for where to find some of these open water crappie. Main lake points, a good place to start. River channels. Look on your chart on your map and find where the channel winds its way through and fish the ledge of the channel. Mouths of creeks or mouths of coves are always good places. Down in front of the dam, a lot of times rock riprap will slope off and have some drop-offs in front of a dam. Those will be good places. Then, as I mentioned, use your graph, drive around, find the bait on those types of locations. You'd like some bottom change, some depth contour, and then there's a good chance you can catch a big one like that. That's a good Lake Fork crappie right there. We're compiling a pretty good mess in the live well today.
Hey friends, Captain Kevin Broussard here with your Fox Sports Outdoor Report. We're going to talk Louisiana, both fresh and saltwater, and we're bringing it to you by Cajun Paradise Charters and Lodge right here on Lake Calcasieu. I tell you what, we're going to start off with Charles and Vicky Salvatore. Came through last week on their way to Darbone, do a little white perch tournament. Tell you what, lots of white perch getting caught over there. On tube jigs mainly, a few on shiners, lots of white perch getting caught. Also the bass are moving up to spawn. Tell you what, on the saltwater scene right now, when they came through, we actually went out and caught some redfish. We had 15 nice redfish in a couple hours of fishing, live shrimp under cork. Right now, the whole Louisiana coast, saltwater fishing's picking up, freshwater fishing's good everywhere. Y'all wanna make a trip? Give old Cajun Field Captain Kevin a buzz. Happy fishing, may God bless, we're gonna see you next week.
Hey everybody, we've got a thunderstorm building up over the horizon. We've been watching it on the radar and we're about to get out of here. In case you've missed some of this action, out here in open water, we've been able to catch some really nice crappie here on Lake Fork today. It's been a great day, even though the weather's been real iffy and we're about to get rained out. That one right there is a real pig of a crappie right there. That's a big one anywhere in the country you want to go, but these are all really nice fish. This is not all we've caught by any stretch, but that's a few of them right there. These open water techniques will work both in deep and shallow water. Now these fish all came out of fairly deep water, but I've done this up shallow at Lake Weiss in Alabama and at Gunnersville, at Sam Rayburn, at Toledo Bend. These same techniques will work even in the springtime on the pre-spawn and the post-spawn after they're done spawning and transitioning back. You can catch them in those bays, in those creeks. The only tip is you can't be around brush. Do not try this technique around trees, brush, stumps. You'll spend all day being very frustrated getting snagged. Stay in open water, stay away from all that cover and brush, and you can catch a bunch of them like these nice crappie that we caught.
You can always watch our latest episode on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Catch up on past episodes and learn about fishing techniques and new gear at our how-to page. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for new fishing videos every day. Simply search for Fox Sports Outdoors and click the like button on Facebook and the follow button on Twitter. And watch a new episode every week on any device by downloading the free Waypoint TV app on your phone, tablet, computer, or smart TV. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Motor Guide's wireless and easy-to-use XI3, Waypoint Marine, the Gulf Coast's leading saltwater boating specialist, Strike King, Taiwan Han, and Tracker Boats, America's best-selling fishing boats.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro question. This week, Tracy would like to know if you could give every dad in America one piece of advice, what would it be? For the answer, we asked the 2016 Bass Master Classic champ, Edwin Evers.
Hey, my one piece of advice for every dad in America, and I need the advice every day because I'm guilty of it too, so I'm not pointing my finger. It's not life and death. Whether I'm at a soccer game, a basketball game, or I'm fishing with him, or whatever it may be, you know, I want to see him succeed so much. I get a little fired up on the sidelines once or twice. Like most of the time I can really take it easy, but it's not life and death. It's just sports, it's just fishing, it's just, you know, let them be kids because they're only kids once. And the things we may want on them may not be what they want. You know, I hope to be in a position where I can support him when he gets in high school, if he's in the band, or he wants to cheerlead, or whatever it may be. I want to be there to support him because his direction may not be the same as mine.
Thank you, Edwin. If you have a question for one of the pros, visit our website, click on the Ask the Pro link, and send it in. Now let's check out the latest Big Catch of the Week winner.
Hey everybody, we did beat the thunderstorm, made it back to the boat slip, and it's time right now for this week's winner in the Big Catch of the Week contest. Somebody gets their big fish shown on television. She is Shelly Steele of Granbury, Texas, showing a 45-inch redfish she caught out of Sargent, Texas. And as a bonus, here's Randy Fry with a 44-inch redfish. And here's Eddie Steele with a 43-inch redfish. Again, both of those caught at Sargent, Texas. And if you'd like to be our next winner, just go to our Facebook page at facebook.com and search for Fox Sports Outdoors. You'll see our main page there. Just post your picture there and you could have a chance to be our next winner. Next up on our gear segment, here's some of the tackle that I use to catch these dead sticking or spider rigging crappie with one rod and reel in my hand like you saw today. This is the Lew's Wally Marshall Pro Series medium light action rod. It's a 6-footer, perfect for what we're doing today. It's paired with a Wally Marshall spinning reel as well. And I've got a double jig rig. They're about 18 inches apart. That top jig is a 1/8 ounce. The bottom jig is the heavier 3/16. I've got the top tied on a loop knot. The bottom's just a regular Palomar. I've got them both rigged with Bobby Garland baby shad. The top one is a baby shad Swim-R. The bottom one is a plain baby shad. They're both in kind of a pearl translucent color. That seemed to work really well on the crappie today. And I love to use yellow or gold line when I'm crappie fishing. I've proven to myself through the years that it doesn't affect the crappie seeing it. They'll hit it just fine, but I can see my line much better. I can watch the angle of my line as I'm trolling or drifting around, and I can watch for any strikes as well. In the 1938 Pulitzer Prize winning Broadway play called Our Town by Thornton Wilder, one of the main characters, Emily, dies giving birth to her second child. But before doing so, she's given a chance to witness again the day she turned 12 years old. Here's the famous line. "It goes so fast," she says. "We don't have time to look at one another. Goodbye world, goodbye to clocks ticking and mama's sunflowers and food and coffee and new ironed dresses and hot baths and sleeping and waking up. Do any human beings ever realize life while they live it every minute?" In our fast-paced world of fast schedules and always looking forward to the next thing or the next event, do we ever really slow down to take time, soak in, and enjoy the good things that God puts in front of us? It takes a very intentional choice, a decision to stop and breathe and look around and take it all in. Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed our trip out to Lake Fork, but more importantly, I hope you learned a few things about catching these open water crappie. Remember, the vast majority of the crappie in any reservoir live out in open water, not on the brush and cover and stumps and docks. And if you learn how to catch those fish, you could put a whole lot more fish in your boat the next time you go fishing. Thanks for joining us on this week's episode. We'll see you next week. Until then, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.